is, I don't know, the fourth or the fifth consecutive week on the same day, consecutive cycle, sun cycle. I don't know, I don't want to get into, I hate to say days because, days, they're confused. I hate to say W-E-E-K, W-E-A-K. I hate all of that. Anyway, let me listen to this for a hot second and see if we can get some folks to join us. So last Friday, family, I went to Richmond, and I went to, there's a D on there, Richmond, and participated in a double event. The first part of the event was a meet and greet, which was cool. There were vendors, there were people mixing and mingling, philosophizing. I don't know how you say it, but in any case, a few groups of people sharing their thoughts, and some of it I filmed and I did capture on. Red Pill's conversation about how AI is a tool that we can use. The tools are good or bad. It's what you do with them. Just like the energy ain't good or bad. It's what you do with it. So it's like having magic at your fingertips to some degree. Instant knowledge, pulling in knowledge from so many sources. Yes, they do get into your business. Yes, they do typify your mindset. Yes, there is an algorithm. Algorithm that is attached to you. Now, whether it is concise, precise, it may be influenced by some other things, paid patrons, Patreon. Yeah, that's something I want to get into, because some of the stuff that I'm saying at the level that I'm saying it, and some of the things that I want to say today, if I say what I want to say, I think it might be, I've had stuff pulled before. I've had things that, I have had videos disappear before because of the content, some of the things that they don't tell me why, but Facebook, I had to remove Heart Happy Hour from Facebook because they kept denying my episodes. And so I moved to YouTube to expand my horizons, but it's still major parameters. So in any case, one of the things that I know, I'm gonna start off with something that's not on the list of things that was to talk about, and I said I might not talk about it, so let me talk about it first, just in case I forget to talk about it later. But I don't know if you ever seen the TV show Gifted, or any of these others, Supernatural, Grimm, a variety of other shows that show you talents that I have seen in person, and even have information that might be helpful to someone who's capable of doing some of those things, to be able to hone in on it, or just to say, hey, I'm not the only one like this, or hey, other people are okay with this subject, this topic, this way, especially since we've gotten into the ET sorts of things. I knew I was looking for two letters. I was about to say IT, but ET, extraterrestrial. So not from here, not from this dome, not from this globe. Dome and globe, I don't know. Doom and gloom, oh my. But no, I wanted to mention that I have been in the position, and hi to the folks that are there hanging in there with me. One of them, wellness, Love+Art equals wellness. Let me tell you, I saw some things yesterday, Friday, I wasn't starting to talk about this, but Richmond, I saw some spirits do some things while I was there. They were minuetting, sort of like puppetry. I saw them utilizing certain, and I say them, the people that I observed that were energy pushers, energy manipulators, energy artists. They were pulling strings of things happening, and I could see it and hear it. And I mean, it was thick as thieves at some point, because we had a lot of, you know, the event itself, you know, with the twin pillars being there, you know, you knew it was going to have, like, you know, high level energy, high ascended masters in the mix, okay? And so there were people that were nearby that were influencing those that were not aware. And I observed it. I actually, you know, they cast their line onto me, and I was like, you know, not only did I sense it, I tracked it back to the origin, and it might not have been the origin, but to the person that cast the line. How about that? And once I identified that, and once they saw that I had identified them, then they were willy-nilly, you know, trying to, you know, there was a group of them, so, you know, they tossed the ball back and forth, you know, hey, you know, announcement of this is that and the other, and so on. And then, you know, they all tried their hand, and then finally the whatever top notch, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 you know, cast their line. You know, each time something of a, not the option that they were looking for was exercised. And so, because each of them had some different jitsus, or, you know, and that's something else that I had wanted to talk about, and that's a great segue. But I was watching these animations, these cartoon type of programs, you know, years and years, and episodes and you know, depth of, you know, all of them are always in some sort of training, and it always has some sort of moral principles, you know, life lessons in it. And so you learn a lot of things. Man, I've learned a lot of things. Not learned, but just confirmed, you know, within myself, sort of things that they present on these animations. It's kind of crazy. But it's just interesting that the cartoons of today, man, I was watching Wonder Powers Activate. That, you know, I mean, you know, Johnny Quest, and, you know, there were a few that you could see, you know, in that Johnny Quest, they had the flying carpet, you know, the piccolo that was being played. Pinpointing that piccolo thing, I'll come back to that. But there were some magical, mystical kinds of things that happened in Scooby-Doo, you know, but in a cartoonish way that's different from the life-like-ish animation that we have now. So anyway, Cinnamon Roll, hey Cinnamon Roll, hey, I can't even read all of this, but let me just say, I do appreciate you guys joining me, and I hope you're following the fact that, you know, the youngsters now these days, they're getting access to information that could help them. If, you know, again, the energy, the information is not good, the information is not bad, but just to get the information on how simple, you know, spiritual things are in some cases sensed, you know, and let's just say the sensitivities of the spirit can be sensed on a polygraph, you know, and on the polygraph, you know, all they're doing is they're sensing some of the natural responses, the heart quickening, the breath shallowing, the twitching, you know, the constant movement. These are bodily, what is it, body language. So your body is speaking and electronically emitting certain measurable outputs or responses, or these things are measurable by these machines. Now, they're not saying that the polygraph machine is a measure of your spirit, or your spirit movement, or your spirit activity, or your spirit's animating your body, the spirit that animates your body, because you have a lot of control over that spirit for the most part. But there are certain things you might not be trained for. You might not have trained yourself for the response or the reaction that you might in the hindsight decide that this is what I now want to do. Oh, Love+Art equals wellness. This is sponsored by, and so these are some of the newest things, and I hope that these are also wellness tools. These are things that I am able to provide with instructions on how to utilize them as tools. So in the meantime, this polygraph machine, the tool that it is and what it is measuring, there are some arguments. There are some, I did look it up. There's information, I did what they call that, a deep dive in a chat GBT conversation with the information is that there are a lot of indications that what the polygraph is measuring is relative to spiritual activity. So scientifically, yeah, but that's what we actually normally do. Like you are able to sense energy. When you can tell sometimes, depending on how sensitive you are, when someone is not telling the freaking truth. You can tell. Sometimes they have a tick, like when a poker player is playing poker. Sometimes that tick is an indication, they clear their throat, or they have that phrase that they say, well, to tell the truth, or that phrase, to be very honest. And they may be telling the truth, or that might be. So I'm just saying there are certain things, certain ways, certain habits, certain patterns that you can pick up on, just like the patterns because the polygraph machine uses, they say certain questions and they look for the response, and the difference is what the difference is when you respond. They measure those things, and then they use those things as an indication of when you're not in alignment with the information, the energy, with the communication, with the output, the input, the internal drive is not gelling. It's glitching with the in the process of the transmission, because you're requested to answer, and so what they're answering is, what they're checking is the answer accurate, or in alignment. Okay, so if the answer is in alignment, then there's no indication of a contrast or a conflict of energies. So, but any case, so yeah, so the polygraph is to me a measurement, a tool that can be used for measuring what's with your spirit. Just the same way in kinesiology, or your body can be used as an answer tool for yourself, which is one of the things that I have taught people in the past of how to do. They would actually ask the question, what is I tell them, ask yourself, body, spirit, ethereal self, what is my yes? And give me an indication of what my yes is, and it might be my ear itching, it might be me leaning forward, it might be, some sort of offness with myself, my person. And then also I say, what is my no? You don't always need to know your no. You really need to know your yes. What is my yes? My no. And those once you know those, and so this is you using your own kinesiology or kinetic self, or the kinetic energy of your person, to help you make like the whole group, the whole team is involved in the decision at that point, including the etheric self. Okay, and the etheric self is what is, I believe, it animates the kinetic energy, um, that is, although we get it from our chi, even though, we do renew that energy regularly. It's just that I believe that the system is, well, anyway, let me just not get, like, I'm not a medical doctor. I do not practice anything medical except for I do energy work. How about that? Okay. So, but in the meantime, I wanted to speak on a couple quick things. Something that just came to mind was about April Fool's Day, which was just a little while ago. April Fool's Day, I believe I did a episode, or I dialogued with everyone this time, last cycle, and I was really I was taken aback that I did not do more in an ode to the birthday that had passed on the 1st. But then on the 4th, so the first was the person who taught me mental telepathy. And on the 4th was the anniversary of the passing of my father, who actually, they were married. My stepmother, his wife, is the one who was the first person that I recognized who was talking to me, and I was able to see, she taught me how to hone in on where that energy was being directed from. And so, but anyway, so her birthday was the 1st of April, and that was April Fool's Day. And April Fool's, because I didn't talk about this, I talked to Smidgen about her and not much, but April Fool's Day is that easily caught fish day. When I believe it was Caesar, when back in that day, it was the calendar went from what it was to what it is. And it may have been another cycle somewhere in there, but in any case, let's stop this music. Sorry, I don't know if you guys were hearing that in the background, but I don't know if you guys can see where we are. Can you see where we are? We're in Baltimore City. We're in Baltimore. That's the convention center. And Kona Grill over there. And I don't know if I can. Ooh, came in. Oh, say, okay. Look at what's going on. They don't want. Let me see. Turn this down. That's off. Okay. So be strong and courageous. Thank you. I'm at a red light. Do not fear or be in dread of them. Ooh. And you know what? That's actually what I project back to them when I do, connect, when I do see or feel the connections. I let them know, hey, I mean no harm. I have no bad intentions on this note. This is trippy what this thing is doing. Ow. Jiminy Cricket. You see what happens to people like me? What's going on behind the curtain? Okay, so it might be getting ready to cut us off. So one love and wellness. I hope that you guys have gotten something out of what I said. I had meant to do a little bit more than this. Hey, how about if I turn it on the cold cycle? Turn it to AC and turn it up. Maybe. You guys, give me a minute. Let me let this thing warm, cool off. Animation, polygraph, jitsu. Okay, I think the last thing is the 6 fingers. And I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about this, but there is rumor, folklore. Let me cool this phone off for 1 second. Pardon me. Thanks for hanging in there. Hold tight. Maybe that'll get my background back better. So maybe I'll turn it around front ways. I think Okay, I think it's cooled off now. So let me turn it around and show you that. You can't see that either. Okay, that's it might help us to change it, but it seem to be helping. Something else going on. Something else going on. Here we go. We're back. Okay. So with six fingers, I have heard tale folklore, rumor that folks who have six fingers or six toes have been tied to, and I don't know if this is genetically or how this has been scientifically determined, or if it's even been scientifically determined. Some things don't need the scientific part of it, but there, folklore. It says that people back in the day when the Indians, you remember how they portrayed the Indians doing how? Okay, so that apparently had something to do with. I wonder, am I going to get through here? Am I going to just sit here and let them go? Because they got a long cycle and they got their people's. I don't know. Am I going to be able to get through this? This taxi is acting like, oh, Mr. Bus, Mr. Bus, Mr. Bus is probably not going to let me through. Are you going to let me through, Mr. Bus? Come on, Miss Bus. I'm going to let you through. That's what I'm going to do. If they would hurry up. OMG. See, I should have did my first mind. My first mind was, let's, and so now they have the light, and now I have to back up, and that's where I'm going. Okay. You know, I have no problem. Okay, thank you. Thank you. You don't have to beep at me to say you don't have no more room. My car beeped at me. So, any case, the Indians, they said how because they wanted to count how many fingers was waving at them. And at the same time, the Indians or the Aborigines or Aboriginal, man in trust, I am it, I'm a part of that group. But what I was saying was that those original or these Aboriginal folks, they talk about people coming from outer space. They talk about people being here from other planets, bringing them information, bringing them news. We don't tout that information. It's not as widely publicized or accepted. Oh, I can't even get around this guy. This guy won't even let me go. It's not as widely spoken about. Yeah, man. You can scoot up a little bit. Thank you. Ooh, that was helpful. Ooh, that was helpful. Now I can get up out of here. Thank you, darling, for those few little inches making a difference. Yes, let Mother Love through. Mother Love, Mother Love. Love plus art equals wellness. Love plus art equals wellness. Heart happy hour. So they got visits from, like, okay, okay, I spoke on this. I keep speaking on this. The dead, they're from the star constellation Sirius. And they brought with them goodies that help you tune into their channel, their station, their broadcast, their data transmissions, so that when you are elevated, lifted, let's get lifted. I, I, I used to sing that song at Tacoma Station when I was performing back then. Um, Man, I was about to break out into song, and maybe another time. But yeah, I actually, you know, believe them in saying because there are a lot of things that the Dogons have said, and I believe the organization, or it's called an organization now. It used to be just a tribe, right? But I believe that they've been compromised. There's a lot of paid studying going on, and don't money has no color. It probably was some sort of wonderful initiation or selection process in ancient, I believe. But I believe now that they might put you through some ropes once you get in there. But if you think that you're up to it, have at it. And so, but anyway, so the Dogon have introduced a lot of information, a lot of scientific things that have been proven scientifically, excuse me, but also some things that, have still not been, let's say, proven, believed, I don't know, whatever folks don't listen to, So they say they bought the THC plant here, Mary Jane. Man, my singing is not like it used to be. I used to be on a dime. I better clear my throat here before I do decide. See, I'm just going with the flow. So when the song come out, when it hit the throat, it is what it is. So, yes. So they say that the six-fingered person, the six-toed person, the six digits, was an indication. If when they said how, if there was another one dangling with you, then you were a direct line descendant of a particular place. How about that? And that particular place was not of this planet. That was a trait, a family trait. That was some genetics. That was some, in your DNA stuff, right? So, but let's just say I would, I want to agree with that. It's from somewhere else because how things line up for certain folks that I know that are in certain, from a certain bloodline. I think there's some royalty, some, and if the royal families all have been proven to be from some other, not just some other country, but some other planet, I really think that, it lines up with, it resonates with, and that's what that whole polygraph thing is about. Is it resonating with you? You having the vibration, or it lining up with your vibe, or you vibing, lining up with that vibe. It resonates in my mind. There's a lot of things of, just believing blindly, blind belief in, so some big things in my life, from Christianity to, like I was, what helped me to bust the cherry on that note, because it wasn't just, oh, there's a Santa Claus, oh, there's a Easter Bunny. Because even though I never seen Santa Claus, and even though I never seen Easter Bunny, I have seen a tooth fairy. I tell you, and I wasn't even home. The tooth fairy, some money under the pillow. And of course, nobody in the family is going to say, yeah, I left some money. And everybody, all the other kids, jealous. Why I ain't getting no money? But let me just say this. I saw it. So whether it is a real tooth fairy or not, Easter Bunny or Santa Claus, because, all those stories, there are some characteristics, that carry over from one culture to another, I guess you could say, one one lineage heritage theory, teaching, one country, all these different places all have these same or original type of stories. And so there are archetypes to me that are spirits that potentially can be inhabited. The Christ-like spirit, that's a spirit that can be inhabited in my mind. And he says, and greater things than these shall ye do. And that stuck with me as a youth, and like I said, even though I kind of got thrown off kilter when I found out there was no Santa Claus, I got thrown off even more kilter, all these different versions, all these different stories, and then the morals supposedly behind them made a lot of good sense. But when you go back to the sun stayed still, the earth, for 3 days, and then it rose again, and then you look at that being a celestial activity, and then you look at that being a cosmological, and then you look at that being, somewhat astrological, and then you look at that being energetic, when you look at that being, emphatic as far as imposing energy across the board on a grand scale. It's like, wow, really? You would, you know. So yeah, these were like nursery rhymes. You know, that was like a nursery rhyme that you know. Oh, okay, and all the nursery rhymes, including the tales, have some other encoded meanings. You know, the big bad wolf. You know, grandma's house. You know, all the candy house, the candy lady. All those have some great moral stories to them, you know, principles and scruples that go with them. But to be extremely honest, there was some real stuff that happened, you know, in the beginning that was we were being warned about, we were being informed about, we were being education, edutainment, you know, things that you tell your children at, you know, night night, sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite. That's got some real, for real basis. True, true, true. You know, good night, sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite. Man, this, you know, that's true. So, you know, all these other ones that we have, you know, Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? With silver bells and cocker shells all lined up in a row. You know, all these things have significance and meanings, you know. What do you call that? Manifestation, you know, manifest destiny, you know. These are you telling you're a story of what you would prefer it to be in that case. So, any case, so one love and wellness. I'm in the city. I'm no longer on the highway. I can read some of this. Oh wow, I got plenty of messages to read right quick. Okay, we're going to Goodwill. Nah, baby, we're going to do some Goodwill though. How about that? And say hi. Hi, Kim Luvania, Lavano. Hi, Kim, darling. One love and wellness. Hi, low, and hi there. Cipher PKK. And Cinnamon Roll, I already said hi to you, but hi to you again. One love and wellness family. I am about to, this is, you see, I got to ride this daggone road like I'm riding a horsey. I mean, you really gotta, I'm telling you, bumps in the road. So, okay. So did I speak to everyone? No. Hey, I'm sorry. I have to go. Hope you have a good day today. Oh, thank you, Cypher PKK. Henchman, Isaiah 41 and 10. Fear not, for I am with you. Oh my God, yes. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. And the God and I and God. The God, we are one. I will strengthen you. Yes, you do. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Mm. Henchman, Jeremiah 29. We are moving again. And we are rolling through that neighborhood that we went through last week. Last strong. That we saw the statue. Ooh, somebody in the street and a ditch. That lady, she ran across there because she saw how that was. There was a big ditch there that people were avoiding. I did as well. So anyway, okay. So Henchman says, for now, I have the plans. Okay, that's Jeremiah 29 and 11. Okay, so now we're moving again, and I can't read that part. Give me a second, and I'll go back and start. Ooh, yes, I will. Ooh, ooh. Yes, I will. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yes. Okay. Be Oh, there's another one. You put another one up there, darling. Let me pull over. To not prolong, let me pull over. Woo, 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 to not prolong. Okay, to, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans for welfare and not for evil. To you, to give you a future and a hope. Okay, I don't know that Bible well enough to know that that's what it says, but I'm going to read the next one where you say Deuteronomy 31:6. Be strong and courageous. Do not fear or be in dread of them. Ooh, for it is the Lord your God who goes with you. He will not leave you or yes, yes, yes. He is always a part of me, the God spark in me. Ashe, Ashe. And Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. No, I don't. But guess what? I love it when things fall into place and it makes sense. It's just like little lights go on and tick tack, and they start stringing things together. And then all of a sudden, I got the aha of the whole thing. Like, wow, really? Doggone it. That's awesome to be able to have those things line up for you like that, and reveal themselves to you. So, okay, it says, and do not lean unto your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your path. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was beautiful. That was lovely. That was wonderful. Thank you. I'm glad I was able to read that. So, but in the meantime, your girl, precious mother love plus art equals wellness. Let me tell you a little bit about Heart Happy Hour before I go, just a little bit. Because I consider myself a life and a death doula. And, I am born at the cusp of when it begins to be fall. My opposite sign is when it begins to be spring. So to me, that's life and death. But I have been called in many ways to experience and to assist others in both life and death. The birth and death, let's put it that way. And so, Heart Happy Hour is a result of not that recognition. I recognized that after I became, the host of Heart Happy Hour. Oh gosh, it looks like I'm supposed to be turning somewhere. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to be turning right here. And let's do it right in time for the turn. All right. So I had a lot of deaths in my family. I had my father, my brother, my grandmother, my best friend, my best friend's best friend. And I also had some recent separation from, and my dearly departed husband. He's gone. And so, in any case, that's what helped me to get myself in the mindset of healing myself through sharing my healing as I proceeded. And so, this is that. Heart Happy Hour has helped me to heal through, the pain and the suffering of the griefs, because even though I know every one of them is in a better energy space, meaning that they no longer they've sloughed off the body. The meat suit is no longer being carried by their spirit. So I get the impression that they've gone on into a place of light, a light that, it shines in us, it can be like a beacon, but it really is a joy on the other side. And so this is me having been in the place of joy, me having near-death experiences, me experiencing, near death in first person, various incidents where, I blacked out or I passed out or, I fainted or whatever. I don't faint often, but I have had a few times of when using a breath technique, and that's what the gateway meditation is about. Which the alphabet folks, have released some information that now puts us in. They even have patents on walking through walls. They have patents on that. I didn't need a patent at 5 years old when that happened to me. But all I'm saying is that, I'm here sharing how I keep getting back to the place of happiness, regardless of what's going on around me, as much as possible. I do have moments, things there are things that I'm learning newly learning how to work through, how to become better at using my energy tools, or using, whatever it is that I've been taught over the years of, mystery schools that I've gone to, with an S on the end, plural, the divinity school, going to, over the years, I have been a part of many study groups of study, including at, mental institutions, where it was confirmed, by the state at that point that I had a certain amount of accuracy. And so once I had gotten the download of the gateway meditation, some folks circled back to inquire. And, I didn't reply, I didn't respond. That was not a two-way indication as far as traceable communications. I don't, and they might be able to do that sometime soon. Who knows? The way things are, I'm riding through a big soup of nothing but energy right now. The lines of all of the connections, of all the energies, of all the things that's, scooting across as it's going to its destination, and I'm on my way to my destination. And yes, people's phone transmissions, people's whatever it's connected to, sometimes the pedometers or the different watches for different medical reasons, they're feeding information back and forth to its host, wherever the information is being hosted at. I'm just saying, there's a soupy mess that I'm driving through, and what channels that I choose to tune into, that's the whole thing. This is a balancing act of us deciding, choosing what to tune into, on the big scale, the big picture. Hold on, I better be over here because there's that lane is blocked. In the big picture of things, there's a lot of things that I have to be tuned into all at one time, which is why I started doing this in an autonomic sense, right? I wanted to get the physical out of the way, per se, okay, out of the way, so that nothing but spirit could flow through in response, in communication, in transmission, outflow to you. So anyway, that's where Heart Happy Hour came from. That's how it came to what it is now. Because initially, I would plan it, I'd be, in this mindset, and things would come to me just like my downloads. And those will be the topics. Well, now that I know I'm back to a weekly schedule, I when things come to me, I write down a little 1 sentence or 2 words thing that says, hey, that's a subject, that's a topic, let's go there. And there's a list now that's building of those things that I'm coming to you off those that list. But I keep allowing myself to just be in full open mode while I'm in that this communication with you, so that I can later go back and listen to myself, because I'm usually really talking to myself when I'm talking to you, and thinking I'm talking to you, even though I'm interacting with you. You are me and I am you. And guess what? I am it. So we have another event that's coming up on the 18th of April. I am it, Indigenous Aboriginal Man in Trust. We are doing a full moon this weekend. We have the full moon on the 12th, very small gathering of us this month, but we are honing our skills. We are leveling up. We are moving on and out and continuing to launch out cast our net out so that we can see, are there like-minded people interested in joining us for our full moon services, our full moon celebrations, our full moon every month. It focuses on the seasons, the things that are in season, the things that are represented by the moon. We have various ones of us we have various modalities, and we will exhibit those things in our in our events. And so the 12th, again, that's the full moon. That's this Saturday. And then the 18th, which is next Friday, we have a dine and dive experience. I hope you can hear me. I know the road is getting a little louder. So dine and dive experience. Okay, where are you telling me to go? You telling me to go here? Okay, we're going here. We're diving deep. We're diving deep, baby, and we are dining on some everlasting whole food from Everlasting Life. And that is on Central Avenue in Capitol Heights, Maryland. And we will be there from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And we also have and I do the flyers, that's why it's committed to my, I actually, spend some time with honing my artistry in reference to these events and things so they can just roll off me like that. Isn't that interesting? I'm just realizing that I'm saying that out loud with you. But in any case, let's just say we have this past Sunday, we had our first Soulful Sunday at the Temple Mother Earth. That was a beautiful gathering. I was not able to make, but I was able to catch it on Facebook, and I think it was also on YouTube. So, Love+Art equals wellness, Heart Happy Hour, season 6. Season 6, folks. And season 6 is a long one because season 5 was short in my mind, but it felt to go. But season 6, I feel like I'm nearing the place of what would be edging me into the 6th season. Now, seasons does not mean years, but since 2018, we've been doing this. So, but some seasons 22, some seasons 45, some seasons not as many. So just to say, it is a spiritual ascension that I am feeling, that I gather my seasonal. I'm not going by a clock. I'm not going by the sun. I am going by, my polychronic device. My device that says it's now time to make this move. The energy now feels accurate, correct, and let's ascend and go to the next level. I've learned some things. I've gone some places. I've done some things. I've gotten to the place where I'm now ready to consider myself elevated and ascended. And it's been a beautiful ride. It's been beautiful, going from, because when my father did pass, it was the reason that I started Heart Happy Hour was because of that, not knowing that I was going to see myself actually ascending through the process. But when he passed, I did actually feel an energetic elevation. No cap, okay? For real. All jokes aside. And all those things I said earlier on that are, people's tics, cross my heart and hope to stick a needle in my, all of that. I'm telling you the truth. I do my best to tell you the exact, accurate thing that if I tell you what I experienced, I'm telling you the whole truth and nothing but the truth. No, I can't say I'm telling you the whole truth yet. Wait till I get on Patreon. I'm gonna tell you some things, baby. But anyway, one love and wellness, folks. I just, I'm glad that I'm now back into the swing of things. It's 311 now. So at 311, we are not signing off yet, but ooh, I'm trying to get back to the music. Let's see if it get me back to you. Ooh. Okay, volume went down. Like the cell tower, sun is the power, transmitting, emitting. I am always here, even when I reflect off the clones of sun. In the memory of the sun flood. If I live in your memory, I will live on. This one is called Life Pages. So thanks for joining me. Heart Happy Hour Season 6. Precious Mother Love. Ashe. And Aho. And so